Okay, children, I hope you have done the homework which I have given you. Now, let's discuss the answer of question 32D part. So, name the hottest month. So, hottest month, what is the answer? May. May month is the hottest month, and the temperature recorded is 28.0 degree Celsius, right? Now calculate the annual rainfall. So annual rainfall is 131.9 centimeter. This centimeter and this degree Celsius is must. If you don't write degree Celsius, if you write only 28 or if you write only 131.9, then you lose the marks, right children? So this centimeter and degree Celsius is very, very important. Now name the winds that bring the maximum rainfall to the city. So which winds bring the maximum rainfall to the city? Yes, the answer is northeast monsoon wind. What is the answer? Northeast monsoon wind. How come northeast monsoon wind? Northeast monsoon wind because the maximum rainfall that is recorded during winter season, winter months, right? Like October, November, right? So maximum rainfall is in winter season, and in winter season the northeast monsoon wind brings maximum rainfall in India, right? So northeast monsoon wind means this. So this wind, northeast wind, brings maximum rainfall in winter season in India, right? That is why. So the answer of this question number 32D third part is northeast monsoon winds bring the maximum rainfall to this city. Now next 32, question number 32D fourth part. Does the station have a maritime or a continental climate? Give a reason for your answer. So my answer would be maritime. The station has maritime climate. Why? Because if you see the temperature here, the temperature are almost constant, 21, 21.9, 24, right? So there is no drastically change in temperature, right? So I would say the station has maritime climate, right children? And also if you if you find out the annual range of temperature also, you'll find the very low range of temperature, right? So in that way also you can say that the station has a maritime climate. Now let's discuss question number 33D first part. Calculate the total annual rainfall experienced by the station. Answer is 128.7 centimeter, right? Now second is what is the annual range of temperature. So what you are going to do, 32.5 minus 24.5 degrees Celsius, highest minus lowest temperature recorded, and 8.0 degrees Celsius is your answer. Now next question, on which coast of India does the station lie? So which coast? Yes, the answer is East Coast. Which coast? East Coast. Now give a reason for your answer. See D part, how come the answer East Coast? The station lies on the East Coast. Now see this climatic data. Maximum rainfall that occurs in 2 months, October and November. If you compare from these months, so October and November receives maximum rainfall. So October and November in India means winter season, right? Winter season. So it's on a east coast. Now I'll tell you how. Now look at this map here, and just compare this table also, climatic data table. Maximum rainfall during winter season, October and November, right? So maximum rainfall during winter means maximum, that means this wind direction that brings maximum rainfall in winter season. What is the reason behind it? See this east coast, this is east coast, this receives maximum rainfall in winter season, right? Because this eastern Ghat, this wind bearing cloud, this is obstruct here by this eastern Ghat, and maximum rainfall occurs here, right? So that we can say that the station lies on the east coast, not on the west coast, right? Now, class 10, let's start chapter number 8, Soil Resources. Turn page number 120. Okay, let's start soil resources. Soil. What is a soil? Soil is a thin upper surface layer of the mantle rock on the earth comprising mineral particles formed by the breaking down of rocks, withered mineral particles, decaying organic matter, living organism, water and air. So soil means soil is a part of earth's surface comprised of disintegrated rocks and humus that provides the medium for plant growth. The development of soil takes time between hundreds and thousands of years and consists of diverse materials which are both organic and inorganic. Right? So, soil is very essential element. Importance of soil. So, as we know, the soil is one of the most valuable natural resources available to us. The importance of soil and its uses are like fertility to includes like number one, fertility to plants and crops, source of medicines, retains water, enhances groundwater levels, it gives shelter to animals. It's a source of valuable minerals also, helps to decompose waste, growth of microbes, construction material, cools the atmosphere. It helps to make utensils also, right? So these are what are the importance of soil, and soil plays a vital role in the survival of living beings on earth also, right? There are number of factors that contribute to the formation of soil and its fertility, and some of the important factors are parent rock or parent material, relief, climate, and natural vegetation. So these are the factors which affect or which contribute to the formation of soil and its fertility. Now next is soil resources. Soil resources of India. India is a country of vast dimensions with varied conditions of geology, relief, climate, and vegetation. Therefore, India has a variety of soil groups. So, these are alluvial soil, black soil, red soil, laterite soil, and mountain soil. Now, first is alluvial soil, transported soils or ex-situ soil. Alluvial soil. Alluvial soils are found over a large parts of the country. It covers about 45.6%, around 46% of the total land area of India. Formation. Alluvial soils are transported soils. Although most of plains are formed by the soils derived from the sediments deposited by rivers. So, the formation of alluvial soil is that it is transported soil, and they are this alluvial soil is formed by the soils or the debris or the sediments deposited by the rivers. For example, Indo-Gangetic plains. But some alluvial soils in the coastal areas like eastern coast and western coast of India have been formed by sea waves. Thus, the parent material of these soils is of transported origin. These soils, that is why this is written here, the parent material of these soils is of transported origin. That is why this Transported soil or alluvial soil is also known as XC2, right? XC2 soil. Okay, now these soils consist of varying proportions of sand, silt, and clay. In the upper course of river, the soil is coarse. In the middle course, it is medium and fine in the lower course, right? Alluvial soil is made up of fine particles, so it can hold lot of water. It is very, very fertile because it is rich in mineral nutrients like potash and lime. However, they are deficient in phosphoric acid and humus. So, alluvial soil in alluvial soil, this phosphoric acid and humus are present in very less percentage or very less quantity. Apart from the sizes of the this alluvial soil, like from coarse to fine grain, um, they are described according to their age also, right? So age means according to the age, according to the formation. They are of two types. Alluvial soil is of two types: old alluvium and new alluvium. So old alluvium is also known as bhangar and new alluvium is known as khadar, right? So these are varieties or types of alluvial soil: bhangar, khadar. Bhangar is what? Bhangar is old alluvium and khadar is new alluvium, right? The old alluvium often contains conker nodules, it is a coarse it is coarse grain with calcium carbonates in subsoil. The new alluvium is more fertile than the old one. So the new alluvium means khadar is more fertile than old alluvium, bhangar, right? As a whole, alluvial soil is very, very fertile due to its softness and fertility, as well as due to its moisture retention capacity. It is very, very fertile and very good for irrigation and agriculture. So this fertile best suited to irrigation and agriculture. So these are the here are the crops when properly irrigated in alluvial soil. These crops could be grown in plentiful manner like rice, wheat, sugarcane, tobacco, jute, vegetables, fruits, etc. Now see in this box you are finding two terms there: in situ soil and transported soil, XC2. Now in situ soils means the soils which are situated in the original natural or existing place or position, right? So they are not transported. The soil are found where they are formed, or the soil they are formed where they are found. Example, black soil. So these soils are not very deep. These soils resemble with the parent rock. Why parent rock? Because they are situated in their original position or existing place. They are not transported from one place to another. That is why they are termed as in situ soil. Now transported soil, XC2. That means these are the soils which are carried down by agents of gradation such as river, wind, example alluvial soil. Transported soil or XC2 means these are those soils which are carried down from one place to another by different agents like river, wind, glacier, etc. Right? So these soils are deep and these do not resemble with the rock system of the area. Areas of alluvial soils. The widest occurrence of the alluvial soil is in the Great Indo-Gangetic Plain, starting from Punjab in the west to Bengal and Assam in the east. They also occur in the deltas of Mahanadi, the Godavari, the Krishna, and the Kaveri. Some alluvial soils are found in the Narmada and Tapi valleys also. Northern plains of Gujarat also have some cover of alluvial soil. Now just see this map. The green patch, I think you all are seeing on the screen this green patch. So these are the areas where alluvial soils are found, right children? So some of the patches are found in the deltas of Mahanadi, Godavari and Krishna also, right? So these are the coastal, this is your coastal line, coastal area. So this alluvial soil are found, occur in deltas of Mahanadi, Krishna, Godavari and Kaveri. This much for today children. We'll continue with the soil chapter in the next video. Till then, bye bye.